The door to room 317 slid open without a sound. It should not have. The station's locks were old but strict, and the night cycle was quiet. No alerts. No warning lights. Just the soft hum of recycled air and the steady pulse of power through the walls. Evan Hale was awake already. He often was. Sleep came in short pieces on deep space stations, especially for junior systems staff who knew too much about what could go wrong. He lay still in his bunk, eyes open, watching the dim strip of light along the ceiling. When the door opened, he did not move at first. He listened. Footsteps crossed the floor. Calm, unhurried. Whoever it was did not try to hide. "Security?" Evan said, keeping his voice level. No answer. He pushed himself up on one elbow. The room's low light showed a figure near the desk. A woman, tall and slim, with skin the color of pale metal under moonlight. She looked human at first glance, but something about the way she stood felt wrong, too balanced, too still. "You're in the wrong room," Evan said. "This is restricted crew housing." She turned toward him and smiled. It was not a warm smile or a cold one. It was precise, as if she had practiced it. She raised her hands and touched the front of her uniform. It did look like clothing, smooth, dark fabric that flowed like cloth but held its shape too well. With a single motion, she pulled it free. The material did not fall to the floor. It folded inward, shrinking, drawing itself into a thin band that slid around her wrist and went still. Evan froze. Underneath, she was not naked. Not really. Her body was covered in faint lines that glowed softly, like light trapped under skin. Patterns ran along her arms, her chest, her neck. They shifted slowly, responding to something Evan could not see. "I am not here to harm you," she said. Her voice was calm, clear, and carried a strange echo, as if the room itself listened to her words. "I needed you to see me without filters." Evan swung his legs off the bunk and stood. His heart was beating fast now, but his mind was sharp. "You broke into a secured station. You shut off my door lock. That counts as harm where I come from." She tilted her head.
"Noted." He moved toward the wall panel and tapped the emergency call. Nothing happened.
No light, no sound. He looked back at her. "You killed the comms. I paused them," she said. "The station artificial intelligence is sleeping." "That's not possible," Evan said. "It doesn't sleep." She smiled again. "Everything sleeps if you know where to touch." Evan felt a cold weight settle in his stomach. The station AI ran life support, navigation, power balance. If it was truly offline, even for a moment, the station was blind. "Who are you?" he asked. She stepped closer, stopping a careful distance away, as if she understood personal space without being taught. "I am an observer, an envoy. My designation would not translate well into your language." "Try," Evan said. She considered. "You could call me Lyra." "That's your name?" "It is a sound I am comfortable answering to." Evan rubbed his face with one hand. "Lyra, why are you here? And why me?" Her glowing lines shifted, brightening slightly. "Because you are awake when most are not. And because you repair what others only report." Evan frowned. He had fixed a lot of things quietly over the last 2 years. Small patches, manual overrides, clever shortcuts that were not in the manuals. It was the only way to keep the station running with limited supplies. "You've been watching us," he said.
"Yes. How long?" She paused. For the first time, she looked uncertain.
"Your species? A very long time. This station? Since before it was launched." Evan let out a short laugh. "That's not comforting. I did not intend comfort," she said. "I intended honesty." The lights dimmed slightly, then returned. Evan felt the floor vibrate under his feet. Just a little.
"What did you do?"
he asked. "I adjusted your orbit by a fraction," Lyra said. It was necessary to prove a point. Evan moved to the viewport. Outside, the stars looked the same, but he knew small changes could mean disaster over time. "You don't just touch things like that," he said. "You don't test systems by breaking them." Her eyes followed him. They were not human eyes. Too clear, too reflective. "That is exactly how your species learns," she said. "You break. You adapt. You survive." Evan turned back to her, not on purpose. "Sometimes," she said gently, "you do." Silence filled the room. The hum of the station felt louder now, like a reminder that everything depended on balance.
"You said you were an envoy," Evan said. "That means you represent someone."
Or something.
"Yes. Then where are they?" "Watching," Lyra said. "Listening, waiting." Evan crossed his arms. "For what?" "For you," she said. He stared at her. "You broke into my room to watch me?" "No," she said. "I broke into your room to remove a lie." She lifted her wrist, showing him the band that had once been her clothing. "This is a limiter,
A translator. A safety layer.
Most species never see beyond it. They interact with a version of us that is small, slow, and gentle."
"And us?"
Evan asked.
"We were told not to show you the truth," she said.
"That humans respond badly." Evan snorted. "We respond badly to a lot of things."
Yes, she agreed.
"That is the concern." A low tone sounded through the station, barely audible but deep enough to be felt. Evan's eyes widened.
"That's a system alert," he said.
"What did you touch?"
"Only one thing,"
Lyra said. A problem that already existed. Evan ran to the console and began typing commands by instinct. Several systems flashed yellow, then red. Power draw was spiking in unexpected places. Cooling was lagging. "This isn't a test," he said. "Something's wrong." "Yes," Lyra said. "Now." Evan looked back at her. "You did this."
"I revealed it," she corrected.
The flaw was always there. He did not argue. His hands moved fast, pulling up old diagnostic screens, switching to manual views. He bypassed safety warnings without thinking. He had done this before, though never with so many systems failing at once. Lyra watched him closely, her head tilted, her eyes tracking every movement. The lines on her body pulsed in time with the station's power flow. "You are not afraid," she said. "I am," Evan said. "I just don't have time." He rerouted coolant through an unused backup line, one that had been marked obsolete years ago. It held, barely. He adjusted power balance by hand, shaving output where it would not be noticed. The alert tone faded. The station steadied. Evan leaned back against the console, breathing hard. "Okay," he said. "Okay. That was close." Lyra stepped closer. "You did not follow protocol." "Protocol would have killed us," Evan said, slowly. She studied him. "You chose a path no model predicted." "That's normal," he said. "For you," she replied. The room felt smaller now, the air heavier. "You said this was about honesty," Evan said.
"So be honest, what is this really about?"
Lyra met his eyes.
"My people believe your species is dangerous."
Evan blinked.
"We barely left our own system."
"Danger is not measured by distance," she said. "It is measured by change." She paused, then added, "This was only the first part." Evan felt a chill that had nothing to do with space. "First part of what?" "A question," Lyra said, "one that the galaxy has avoided asking."
"And that is?" She smiled again, but this time there was something else in it, not practice.
"Not control. Recognition." "What happens," she said, "when humans are no longer underestimated?" The station lights flickered once, then stabilized. Somewhere deep in the hull, systems adjusted, adapted, and moved on. Evan did not answer. He just looked at her, already knowing that whatever came next would not be quiet, or safe, or small. And that, somehow, was exactly what she had come to see. The station returned to its night rhythm, but it felt thinner now, like a shell that had already been cracked. Evan sat on the edge of his bunk, staring at the console as if it might suddenly explain everything on its own. Lyra stood near the viewport, her faintly glowing patterns reflecting in the glass, watching the stars slide past. "You said others are watching," Evan said. "Are they watching right now?"
Yes, Lyra replied.
"But not in the way you imagine." He looked at her. "Explain." She turned from the window and faced him fully. "They are not observing this room directly. They are observing outcomes, data paths, probability shifts, what you call cause and effect." "So they won't hear this conversation?" Evan asked. "They will see what it leads to," she said. "That's worse," he muttered. Lyra stepped closer to the console and placed her hand above it, not touching. The screen changed on its own, lines of data scrolling past faster than Evan could read. "The station is part of a pattern," she said. "A test case. Humans are placed in fragile systems, far from support, and watched to see how they cope." Evan frowned. "You make it sound like a lab experiment." She did not deny it. Most species accept systems as they are given. They work within limits. Humans push against them. "That's not a bad thing," Evan said. "That depends on perspective," Lyra replied. "Your history shows repeated cycles of collapse followed by recovery. Each time you return stronger, but less predictable."
Evan crossed his arms.
"So the galaxy is scared of us?" "Cautious," she corrected. "Fear implies panic." "This is calculation." He stood and paced the small room. "Then why reveal yourself now? Why shut down the AI and mess with orbit?" "Because the calculation reached an impasse," Lyra said. "Too many unknowns. Too many conflicting outcomes. My people needed a data point that could not be simulated." "And that's me?" Evan asked. "You," she said, "and what you represent." Evan stopped pacing. "I'm not important." Lyra's eyes followed him closely. "You are not important individually. That is what makes you valuable." He let out a slow breath. "I don't like how that sounds."
"You are average," she continued calmly. "You have no special rank, no exceptional genetic markers.
No unusual training. And yet, when the system failed, you did not wait for instruction. You acted. That's just common sense," Evan said. "To humans," she replied. The station shuddered lightly. A normal adjustment this time. Evan felt it anyway, every vibration now loaded with meaning. "You said the flaw was already there," he said. "The one you revealed." "What flaw?" Lyra waved her hand, and the console shifted to a structural diagram of the station. One section pulsed faintly. "Thermal stress accumulation. Minor. Ignored. It would have failed eventually, under the right conditions."
"You forced the right conditions," Evan said. "Yes," she agreed.
"And you responded." He stared at the diagram. "If I hadn't, the station would have lost efficiency," she said. "Then redundancy. Then life support margin. Slowly. And the crew?" She paused. "Casualties would have been minimal. Acceptable." Evan felt anger rise in his chest. "Acceptable to who?" "To those not aboard," she said simply. He clenched his fists.
"You don't get to decide that? That," Lyra said softly, "is the question my people are asking."
The lights dimmed slightly again, then returned. Evan noticed it immediately. "You're still touching things," he said. "Yes," she said. "I am limiting the extent of external influence. Others would have pushed further. Others like you."
"Others unlike me?" she replied.
He studied her face. "You're different." "Yes." "Why?"
Lyra hesitated.
The glow beneath her skin shifted into a slower pattern. "Because I volunteered?" "For this?" Evan asked. "For uncertainty," she said. "Most of my kind avoid it." He laughed once, sharp and humorless. You came to the wrong species. That was the intent, she said. A soft chime sounded at the door. Evan's head snapped up. That shouldn't happen. It is your captain, Lyra said. She is checking in, concerned by minor system deviations. Evan looked at Lyra. Can she see you? No, Lyra said. Not unless I allow it. Don't, he said quickly. She inclined her head. The chime sounded again, more insistent. Evan opened the door. Captain Reyes stood outside, eyes sharp, posture tense. Everything okay in here? She asked. We saw some strange readings. Yeah, Evan said, forcing a calm tone.
Old line overheating. I rerouted it.
Logged it already. She studied his face. You look tired. Didn't sleep well, he said truthfully. She nodded.
Get some rest. We'll do a full check in the morning. Yes, ma'am. When the door closed, Evan leaned against it and let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding.
She trusts you, Lyra said. She trusts the station, Evan replied. And the idea that nothing like you exists. That idea is fragile, Lyra said. So is everything, Evan snapped. He rubbed his eyes. What happens now? Now, Lyra said, we continue. Continue what? The test, she said. But with fewer lies. Evan looked at her.
You said others are cautious. What if they decide we're too dangerous?
Lyra's gaze did not waver. Then they will attempt containment. Define containment, Evan said. Isolation. Limitation. Intervention, she said. In extreme cases, removal. Evan felt a chill. Removal of what? Potential, she said. He shook his head. You talk like we're not people. We talk like you are a variable, she replied. A powerful one. Silence stretched between them. You volunteered, Evan said slowly. Why? Lyra looked back toward the stars. Because I believe your species is misunderstood, and because stagnation is a form of death. Evan considered that. So you're rooting for us. I am observing honestly, she said. If that favors you, it is because of your actions. The console beeped softly. Evan glanced at it. You brought something with you, didn't you? Data. Orders.
Yes, Lyra said. A framework.
She gestured, and the room filled with a faint projection. Not images, but shapes. Networks of lines and nodes constantly shifting. This is how my people see the galaxy, she said. Stable systems. Predictable flows. Evan squinted. Looks boring. She smiled. That is a common human response. One area of the projection pulsed brighter than the rest. This is you, she said. Your species. Evan watched as the lines around that point twisted, split, rejoined. Paths branched wildly. That's chaos, he said. That's adaptation, she replied. The projection flickered, then vanished. Lyra's expression grew serious. There is disagreement, she said. Some believe you should be guided. Others believe you should be constrained. A few believe you should be eliminated before you expand further.
Evan swallowed.
And you? I believe you should be challenged, she said, fairly. He met her eyes. You don't call shutting down our AI fair. It was reversible, she said, and you proved capable. That's not consent. No, she admitted, but it was necessary to be heard. Another vibration ran through the station, stronger this time. Evan's hand flew to the console. That's not normal, he said. Lyra's eyes narrowed. That is not me. The lights flickered. An alert began to form, then froze. They're pushing, Evan said. Your people. Yes, Lyra said quietly. They are adjusting parameters, accelerating the test.
Can you stop them? Evan asked.
I can slow them, she said, but that will be noticed.
Do it, Evan said.
People live here. Lyra hesitated for a fraction of a second, then nodded. The glow beneath her skin flared brighter, and the room felt suddenly heavier, like gravity had increased just a little. The alert faded. Evan steadied himself. "You just chose a side." "I chose a moment," she said. "Sides come later." He looked at her, really looked at her, and understood that, whatever she was not just an observer anymore. Outside the viewport, the stars continued their silent drift, unaware that somewhere inside a small human station, the future of more than one species was quietly being argued over by two unlikely participants. And this time, the galaxy was paying closer attention. The station did not calm down after that night. It only pretended to. Systems reported green, schedules resumed, and crew members moved through their routines, unaware that something fundamental had shifted. Evan felt it in every vibration of the floor and every delay in the consoles. The station was being watched more closely now. Lyra remained in his room, unseen by others. She rarely moved unless necessary, standing or sitting with a patience that felt endless. Evan slept little. When he did, his dreams were full of flickering lights and voices speaking in patterns he could not understand. On the third cycle after her arrival, the first real problem appeared. It started as a minor power imbalance on Deck 5. Evan noticed it during his morning check, a slight lag in response time from one of the auxiliary grids. He flagged it, ready to fix it after breakfast. Before he could leave his station, 3 more alerts appeared, all unrelated, all small. "That's not normal," Evan muttered. Lyra appeared beside him, her presence quiet but solid. "They are increasing complexity," she said. "They?" Evan asked, though he already knew. "Yes," she replied. "They want to see how you respond when patterns overlap." Evan pulled up a wider view of the station. "This isn't random," he said. "These systems feed into each other. They know," Lyra said. Evan stood. "Then they're risking lives?" "They are measuring," she said calmly. Evan clenched his jaw. Same difference. He moved fast, calling up manual controls, rerouting power, redistributing load. He skipped official channels and went straight to direct control. The fixes worked, but only barely. As soon as one system stabilized, another dipped. Crew voices crackled over the comms. Confusion. Mild concern. No panic yet.
"Captain's going to notice," Evan said. "Yes," Lyra replied.
Soon, the station shook, harder this time. A low alarm sounded, no longer frozen. Evan's heart jumped. "That one's real," he said. He ran. Deck 5 was already crowded when he arrived. Engineers clustered around an access panel, tools out, faces tense. The air smelled faintly of overheated metal.
What's going on?
Captain Reyes demanded. "Cascade stress," Evan said quickly. "Multiple minor failures feeding each other. If we don't isolate sections, it'll spread." "Why didn't the AI flag this earlier?" she asked. Evan hesitated. It assumed optimal behavior. She stared at him. And this isn't optimal," he said. Another tremor ran through the deck. Someone swore under their breath. "Do it," Rhea said.
"Isolate what you need." Evan nodded and moved.
He knelt by the panel, popped it open, and began rerouting cables by hand. Sparks flew once, briefly. He didn't stop. Behind him, unseen by all but him, Lyra watched. Her glowing patterns shifted rapidly now, responding to unseen signals.
"They are learning," she said quietly.
"Good," Evan muttered. "Then learn this." The isolation worked. The tremors eased. The alarm softened, then stopped. A breath seemed to pass through the deck as the crew relaxed slightly. Reyes exhaled. "Report on my desk," she said to Evan. "Full details." "Yes, ma'am." As she walked away, Evan stood slowly, muscles aching. He felt eyes on him. Crew members nodded, grateful, unaware how close things had come. Back in his room, Evan collapsed onto the bunk. "They pushed harder," he said. "And they'll do it again." "Yes," Lyra agreed. They are adjusting their models. Evan laughed weakly. We're numbers to them. You are variables, she corrected. And now, outliers. He sat up. That's bad, isn't it? It is. Interesting, she said. The lights dimmed slightly. Evan frowned. That wasn't the station. No, Lyra said. That was external. The air grew heavy again, like before, but stronger. Evan felt pressure behind his eyes. They're here, he said. Yes, Lyra replied. Not physically, but their attention is focused. The room filled with faint shapes again, the network projection returning. The human node flared bright, surrounded by rapidly shifting paths. They're escalating too fast, Evan said. You said this was a test. This feels like stress torture. They are divided, Lyra said. Some believe you are proving resilience. Others believe you are confirming risk. And you? Evan asked. I believe you are revealing something they did not account for, she said. What? Evan demanded. Refusal, she said. He frowned. Refusal to what? To accept the frame they placed you in, she replied. You do not merely survive pressure, you reshape it. Evan leaned back. That sounds nice, but it doesn't help if they decide to contain us. They are discussing that possibility now, Lyra said. Evan felt his stomach drop. Can you hear them? I can infer, she said. Their signals are growing more rigid.
Less exploratory.
That's bad, Evan said. Yes, she agreed. Another alert sounded, this one sharp and loud. Evan jumped to the console. Hull stress on the outer ring, he read. That's serious. Lyra's patterns flared bright. They are forcing an edge case. Evan's hands flew over the controls. If that ring fails, the station will lose rotation balance, Lyra finished. Artificial gravity will destabilize. People will get hurt, Evan said. Yes, she said again, but this time there was tension in her voice. Evan stopped and looked at her. You said you volunteered. You said you wanted honesty. This is the moment. Help me, he said, not just slow them. Stop this. Lyra was silent for a long moment. The room hummed with energy, not all of it from the station. If I intervene fully, she said slowly, I will no longer be an observer. You already crossed that line, Evan said. She considered him, then nodded once. So have you, she replied. The pressure increased suddenly, then vanished. Evan staggered as gravity shifted slightly, then stabilized. The alert cut off mid-tone. What did you do? Evan asked, breathing hard. I redirected the test, Lyra said. I introduced a new variable. What variable? You, she said. The projection changed. The human node expanded, its paths thickening, spreading outward into regions previously untouched. They are no longer testing the station, Lyra continued. They are testing your decision-making under authority.
Evan stared at the projection.
They're watching me. Yes. He laughed softly, disbelief mixing with anger. Then they picked the wrong person. Why? Lyra asked. Because I don't care about their approval, he said. I care about the people on this station. That, Lyra said, is precisely why they are watching. A new signal pulsed through the room. Lyra stiffened. They are requesting clarification, she said. From who? Evan asked. From me, she replied. About my level of involvement. Evan swallowed. What happens if they don't like the answer? They will act, she said, decisively. He looked at her. And what will you do? Lyra looked at the projection, then at him. I will answer honestly. The room seemed to hold its breath. I will tell them, she said, that humans do not need to be controlled. They need to be understood, and that forcing outcomes only proves their strength, not their danger. Evan felt something tighten in his chest. That won't convince everyone. No, she said, but it will change the debate. Outside the viewport, a distant light flickered briefly. invisible to human sensors. Somewhere far beyond the station, decisions were being reconsidered, lines of probability bending around a stubborn, adaptable species that refused to stay within expected limits. Inside the small room, Evan sat in silence, knowing that whatever came next would not be a simple test anymore. It would be a response. The answer did not come quickly. After Lyra sent her response, the station entered a strange calm, not the normal quiet of space routines, but something heavier, like the pause before a storm. Systems stayed stable. No alerts, no tremors. Crew members relaxed, unaware that attention far beyond human space was focused tightly on their small orbiting home. Evan felt it anyway.
"They're deciding," he said.
"Yes," Lyra replied. She stood very still now, more still than before, as if movement itself carried risk. The glowing lines beneath her skin had dimmed, settling into slow, careful patterns.
"How long does that take?"
Evan asked.
"For them?"
She said. "Moments. For you, perhaps hours." Evan ran a hand through his hair. "I hate that." "That response is consistent," Lyra said softly. The first sign of change came during the next work cycle. Evan was in engineering when the station AI paused mid-sentence. Not shut down, not frozen, just hesitant. "Please confirm," the AI said again, repeating the same line it had already asked. Evan frowned.
"You okay?" he asked the console. "I am receiving conflicting priority signals,"
the AI replied. Clarification required. Evan's heart sank. He opened deeper system layers, scanning for intrusion. Lyra's voice came quietly into his mind through the small translator she had embedded earlier. "They are touching infrastructure," she said.
Indirectly. "That's not okay," Evan muttered.
"No," she agreed.
"It is a compromise," the AI spoke again. "Manual override recommended." Evan didn't hesitate.
He took control, stabilizing the process. The delay passed, but the feeling remained. "They're not testing just me now," Evan said later back in his room. "They're poking the AI, the station, everything."
"Yes," Lyra said. "They are broadening scope." "To what end?" Evan asked.
"To answer a fear," she replied. "Whether your adaptability spreads beyond individuals, whether it infects systems." Evan snorted. "We call that engineering." She smiled faintly. "They call it contamination." Another pause followed, longer this time. Then the pressure returned. It wasn't physical at first. It was informational. Evan felt it as confusion on the network, tiny inconsistencies stacking up, timestamps slightly off, sensor data that disagreed by margins too small to flag but too large to ignore. Crew members began to notice. "Engineering, this is Med," came a call over comms.
"We're seeing odd readings. Nothing critical, but—"
"Off. Copy," Evan replied. "Copy.
"We're checking." Lyra watched him work, her expression unreadable. "They are introducing ambiguity," she said.
"They want to see how you respond when certainty is removed." Evan sighed. "So this is a philosophy test now."
"Yes," she said.
He rubbed his temples. "Fine. Then we respond like humans." He gathered the senior engineers and briefed them honestly, without panic. He told them systems were acting strangely and that automation might not be reliable. He told them to trust cross-checks, teamwork, and manual verification. No one argued. They adapted. Work slowed, but errors dropped. People talked more, checked each other, made judgment calls instead of waiting for instructions. The station became less efficient and more resilient. Lyra observed it all silently. "This is unexpected," she said after several hours. Evan looked at her. "What?" "You are becoming stronger by abandoning optimization," she said. "That's normal under stress," Evan replied. "You stop chasing perfect and aim for good enough to survive." "For us," she said, "perfection is survival.
That explains a lot, Evan said.
The external pressure increased again, sharper this time. One of the station's long-range sensors spiked, then burned out completely. That was deliberate, Evan said flatly. Yes, Lyra replied. They removed a capability. Evan slammed his hand on the console. That's escalation. They believe you are approaching a threshold, she said. They want to see if you will break.
And if we don't? Evan asked.
They will redefine the threat, she said. Upward. Evan stared at the darkened sensor display. You keep saying they like it's one mind. It is not, Lyra said. That is the problem. She finally moved, pacing the small room in short, controlled steps. Some of my people see you as a catalyst. Others see you as a contagion. A few see you as a mirror they do not like.
And you? Evan asked quietly.
I see a choice we avoided, she said. Another alert chimed. This one from navigation. External mass anomaly detected, the AI reported. Distance outside mapped range. Evan's breath caught.
That's not a test input. No, Lyra said. That is presence.
The room grew very quiet. They're here? Evan asked. Not fully, she said.
A projection. A boundary construct.
For what purpose? Evan asked. To observe directly, she said, and to signal seriousness. Evan laughed once, dry and humorless. They could have just sent a message. Messages can be ignored, Lyra said. The anomaly did not move closer, but its effects rippled outward. Instruments flickered. The stars near it bent subtly, light stretching in ways Evan had only seen in simulations. The crew noticed. Captain Reyes called an emergency meeting. Evan stood before the assembled officers, choosing his words carefully. He told them the truth as far as he could. Something unknown was nearby, not immediately hostile, but powerful. He did not mention Lyra. He did not mention tests or observers. Reyes listened, eyes sharp. This station has handled worse, she said finally. We hold position. We monitor. We don't panic. Yes, ma'am, the room replied. Back in his quarters, Evan felt the weight of what he was not saying.
They trust you, Lyra said again.
I wish they wouldn't, Evan replied, at least not blindly. They trust because you act, she said, not because you promise. The anomaly pulsed once. Data flooded in, more than the station could process. They are opening a channel, Lyra said. To who? Evan asked. To humanity, she replied. Not officially. Not through your governments. Through consequence. Evan's jaw tightened. They're bypassing consent again. Yes, she said. Can you stop it? Evan asked. I can shape it, she replied. But that will end any claim of neutrality. Evan met her eyes. You lost that claim a while ago. She studied him for a long moment. Then I will do what I came to do, she said. The room brightened suddenly, light bending round Lyra as her form changed. The glowing lines beneath her skin expanded, lifting slightly above the surface, forming shifting geometric shapes. She was still recognizable, but less constrained, less human-shaped. Evan stepped back, awe and fear mixing in his chest. This is what they hide, she said. From you, from themselves. The pressure eased as quickly as it had come. The anomaly stabilized, no longer pushing, no longer probing. Far away, unseen minds recalculated. They will listen now, Lyra said, her voice deeper, steadier. Not because of force, because of cost. Evan swallowed. What did you do? I showed them a future, she said. One where intervention creates resistance. One where misunderstanding creates opposition. And one where we win? Evan asked quietly. Lyra looked at him, something like respect in her eyes. One where you do not lose, she said. The anomaly began to fade, collapsing inward until space returned to normal. On the station, systems stabilized, sensors recalibrated. The AI resumed full confidence. To the crew, it would look like a close encounter that ended without incident. To the galaxy beyond, it was a warning. Evan sat heavily on his bunk. Is it over? Lyra's form slowly returned to its earlier state, the glow dimming. No, she said, but it has changed. Good, Evan said, because I'm tired of being tested. She smiled, and this time it was not practiced at all. Then prepare, she said, because next they will ask instead of provoke. Evan looked out at the stars, knowing that asking might be even more dangerous. Because humans had a habit of answering honestly. The question came quietly. There was no alert, no alarm, no sudden pressure in the air. The station woke into a normal cycle, lights rising slowly, systems humming with familiar rhythm. Crew members moved through corridors, drank their morning drinks, joked, argued, lived. If anyone noticed, the stars looked a little sharper that day. They did not say it out loud. Evan noticed. He stood at the viewport with Lyra beside him. She was calm, but not still. The patterns beneath her skin moved with purpose now, no longer passive. They are listening, she said. Evan nodded. I figured, the console chimed softly. Not an error, not a warning. A request. Incoming signal. Non-hostile, non-local. Evan let out a slow breath. So this is it? Yes, Lyra said. This is the part they could not simulate. The signal did not force itself into the station systems. It waited. They learned something, Evan said. They learned restraint, Lyra replied. From you. Evan snorted. That's a first. He authorized the channel. The room did not fill with images or voices. Instead, the air seemed to thicken, like meaning itself was present. Evan felt the weight of attention, vast and careful. A presence spoke, not in words, but in structured understanding. Lyra translated in real time, her voice steady. We observe, she said for them. We request clarity. About what? Evan asked. About intent, Lyra replied. Yours. Evan crossed his arms. You already watched us survive. Adapt. Fix problems you caused. What more do you want? The presence shifted. The feeling of it changed slightly. They want to know, Lyra said, what you will do when you are no longer underestimated. Evan laughed softly. We don't even agree among ourselves. That, Lyra said, is part of the concern. Evan thought of the crew, Captain Reyes, the engineers, the med staff who kept working even when systems lied to them. Humans were messy, loud, often wrong, but they showed up. You're asking the wrong question, Evan said. Lyra paused. Explain. You want to know what we'll do with power? Evan continued, with attention. With space. Yes, Lyra said. They fear escalation. Evan shook his head. We don't escalate because we can. We escalate when we're pushed. The presence reacted, not defensively, thoughtfully. They have seen patterns, Lyra said. Expansion, conflict, arms races. Yeah, Evan said. And they stopped seeing the parts where we stopped ourselves. Silence followed. Heavy, but not hostile. Evan went on. Humans aren't dangerous because we adapt. We're dangerous when we're ignored, boxed in, or treated like problems instead of people. Lyra translated every word. They ask, she said slowly, if you expect trust. Evan smiled, tired but real. No. We expect effort. The presence shifted again. The pressure eased slightly. They are reconsidering models, Lyra said. Evan leaned back against the console. Good, because here's the thing. We already live with uncertainty. We don't need perfect systems. We need room to respond. The presence sent another structured pulse. They ask what you offer, Lyra said. In return. Evan blinked. Offer? Yes, she said. Partnership requires exchange, Evan thought for a long moment. We offer honesty, he said finally. Not purity, not predictability. Honesty about what we are. And what is that? Lyra asked quietly. Evan looked around the small room. The station walls. The worn console. The human-made systems held together by fixes that were never in the manual. We're the species that keeps going, he said. Not because we're strongest or smartest, but because we don't quit when things stop making sense. The presence absorbed this. They ask, Lyra said, if you will accept limits. Evan laughed again, softer this time. We live with limits. Gravity, time, resources, mortality.
But imposed limits? Lyra clarified. Evan's expression hardened slightly.
Those never last. The presence did not react with alarm. Instead, there was something like understanding. They acknowledge, Lyra said, that containment would fail. Eventually, Evan agreed. Another pause. They ask, Lyra continued, what you fear. Evan didn't answer right away. I fear stagnation, he said at last. I fear comfort that costs curiosity. I fear a future where someone else decides what we're allowed to become. Lyra's eyes softened. The presence responded slowly, carefully. They recognize that fear, Lyra said. It mirrors their own. Evan raised an eyebrow. Really? Yes, she said. They fear becoming irrelevant, or broken, or surpassed. Evan shrugged. Welcome to the universe. For the first time, something like warmth entered the exchange. They propose a change, Lyra said. No containment, no covert tests, open observation, limited contact, mutual distance. Evan considered it. That's surprisingly reasonable. They are learning, Lyra said. And you? Evan asked.
What happens to you? Lyra hesitated. The glow beneath her skin shifted.
They request my recall, she said. My role as envoy is complete. Evan felt a twist in his chest he hadn't expected. Do you want to go? She looked at him. I want to stay. He nodded. Figures. They will allow it, she said. Conditionally. On what? Evan asked. That I become a liaison, she replied. Not an observer, not a tester.
Evan smiled. Sounds like a promotion.
It is a risk, she said. So is everything worth doing, Evan replied. The presence sent one final pulse. They accept, Lyra said softly. Humanity will not be constrained. It will be watched, engaged, measured openly. And if we mess up? Evan asked. They will respond, she said. But no longer from fear. The presence began to withdraw. The pressure faded. The room felt normal again. Small, human. The channel closed. Evan exhaled deeply and slumped onto his bunk. I need a vacation. Lyra laughed quietly, a sound still new to her. The days that followed were ordinary. That was the strangest part. No anomalies, no pressure, no hidden tests. The station returned fully to routine. Reports were filed about a strange encounter near the edge of sensor range. Higher command asked questions. Careful ones. Nothing exploded. Nothing fell apart. Evan went back to fixing things, quietly, improvising when needed, teaching junior staff how to think instead of just follow steps. Lyra walked the station openly now, visible to all. Introduced as a non-human intelligence partner, there was fear at first, curiosity, debate, then acceptance. She learned human habits, drinking too hot beverages, watching arguments for entertainment, sitting with people even when no words were exchanged. One evening, Evan stood with her at the viewport again.
They'll still underestimate us, he said. Yes, Lyra replied.
Some always will, Evan smiled faintly. That's fine. Why? She asked. Because now, he said, they'll do it knowing the cost. Lyra watched the stars, thoughtful. The galaxy will change, she said. Evan nodded. It always does. And humanity? She asked. He thought of messy systems, stubborn people, and a species that refused to stay in any box long enough to be defined. We'll adapt, he said simply. Lyra smiled. Not in recognition, not in caution, but in agreement.